The arrival. The sky above New York City turned an unusual shade of purple on a Tuesday morning in May. Similar reports came in from Tokyo, London, Cairo, and Sydney within minutes. The phenomenon wasn't localized, it was global. As millions of eyes turned skyward, the purple haze parted to reveal massive silhouettes hovering silently above Earth's major cities. They weren't clouds or atmospheric anomalies. They were ships. Dr. Maya Chen was in her laboratory at the Princeton Institute for Advanced Physics when the news broke. Her coffee mug slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor as she watched the live feed from Manhattan. The alien vessel, because what else could it be, was elegant and imposing, a series of interlocking obsidian rings that somehow maintained perfect equilibrium despite their impossible configuration. "Are you seeing this?" Her research assistant, Ethan, whispered beside her. His face was illuminated by the blue glow of his tablet. Maya couldn't speak. Her life's work studying Earth's magnetic anomalies suddenly felt trivial compared to the reality floating above them. Decades of SETI research, countless debates about the Fermi paradox, all rendered moot in an instant. Humanity was not alone. Within hours, military jets scrambled worldwide, establishing perimeters around the silent vessels. None approached closer than 5 miles before their electronics failed, forcing emergency landings. The aliens, if that's what they were, hadn't fired a shot or made any aggressive moves. They simply waited, suspended above humanity's greatest cities like patient predators. After 24 tense hours of global military alerts and widespread panic, they finally made contact. Every digital screen on Earth, smartphones, computers, televisions, billboards, simultaneously displayed the same message in whatever language was set as the device's default. "We are the Valkyrie. We come with purpose. We mean no harm if our purpose is fulfilled. We will speak with your leaders in 3 hours at these coordinates." The coordinates pointed to the United Nations headquarters in New York. When the time came, a beam of shimmering light descended from the ship hovering above Manhattan, touching down precisely on the UN Plaza. From it emerged 3 figures that were undeniably alien. They stood 7 feet tall with slender frames and skin that rippled with bioluminescent patterns. Their 4 arms ended in 6-fingered hands, and their faces bore no features except for multifaceted eyes that glinted like polished gemstones. Maya watched the broadcast from her lab, having been called in as a consultant due to her expertise in Earth's geomagnetic field. Something about the aliens' appearance tickled her memory. The way their skin patterns flowed reminded her of the magnetic field visualizations she'd been studying for years. The leader of the delegation, who identified itself as Commander Sealer, addressed the hastily assembled representatives of Earth's nations. "Your planet possesses something unique in this sector of the galaxy," Sealer stated, its voice strangely melodic despite the artificial translation. "We have traveled far to access it. What you call Earth's core energy, we call it primum. It is essential to our civilization's survival." The UN Secretary-General stepped forward, maintaining remarkable composure. "We don't understand what you mean by Earth's core energy. Our planet's core is inaccessible to us." Sailor's skin rippled with patterns that suggested amusement. "We are aware of your technological limitations. The primum flows throughout your planet, most concentrated at your magnetic poles and certain fault lines. We have the technology to extract it without permanent damage to your habitat." "Extract?" The Secretary-General's voice hardened. "You're talking about taking something from our planet without our consent. We assumed you would not object to sharing something you cannot access or utilize." Sealer responded. "In exchange, we offer technological insights that would advance your civilization by several centuries." The assembled leaders exchanged glances. Some looked intrigued by the offer, others suspicious. "We need time to discuss this among ourselves," the Secretary-General finally said. "You have 48 of your hours," Sealer replied. "We have waited centuries to locate another source of primum. We cannot wait much longer." As the broadcast ended, Maya was already pulling up her research data. The alien's description of this primum energy matched anomalies she'd been tracking for years. Unexplained fluctuations in Earth's magnetic field that followed patterns too regular to be natural, but too complex to be human-made. Ethan, she called to her assistant, pull up all our data on the South Atlantic anomaly and the North Magnetic Pole shift from the last decade. Within hours, Maya was presenting her findings to an emergency scientific council convened by the UN. Military leaders, scientists, and government officials filled the secure conference room. These aliens, the Valkyrie, aren't lying about the energy they're detecting, Maya explained, her hand steady despite her racing heart. But I don't think they understand what it really is. She displayed a series of charts showing magnetic field fluctuations across the planet. For years, we've observed these patterns and attributed them to core dynamics. But look at this. She overlaid a second set of data. These patterns don't match any known geophysical model. They're too deliberate. General Diana Foster, representing the U.S. Joint Chiefs, leaned forward. Are you suggesting intelligent design, Doctor? I'm suggesting that Earth's magnetic field isn't just a natural phenomenon, Maya replied. The patterns resemble a dormant network, something like a nervous system in standby mode. The room fell silent. If I'm right, what the Valkyrie call primum isn't just energy. It's part of a planetary defense system that's been dormant for, possibly millions of years. That's an extraordinary claim, Dr. Chen, said Dr. Hassan from the European Space Agency. What evidence do you have? Maya projected a 3D model of Earth with glowing lines tracing magnetic field lines. These convergence points at certain ancient sites, Stonehenge, the pyramids, Easter Island, and dozens more. They're not coincidental. They're node points in the network. Our ancestors somehow knew about them. As the scientific community debated Maya's theory, politicians worldwide faced mounting pressure to respond to the Valkyrie ultimatum. Many nations advocated for accepting the aliens' offer of technological exchange, seeing no harm in allowing them to extract energy humans couldn't use anyway. Others, particularly countries with strong military traditions, urged caution. 36 hours into the 48-hour deadline, a team of scientists and engineers was permitted to approach one of the smaller Valkyrie vessels under strict supervision. Among them was Dr. Chen, whose theory had gained enough traction to warrant further investigation. The interior of the alien craft was unlike anything they had imagined, not mechanical but seemingly alive, with surfaces that responded to touch and thought. The Valkyrie demonstrated devices capable of detecting and channeling what they called primum, showing how the energy would be extracted through carefully placed collectors at strategic points around the globe. But something about their explanation troubled Maya. The collection points they proposed aligned perfectly with her theoretical network nodes. If she was right, the Valkyrie weren't just planning to take energy. They would be disrupting a planetary system whose purpose remained unknown. As she was escorted back to Earth, Maya's mind raced. She needed proof, and quickly. Back in her lab, she worked through the night, correlating historical geomagnetic events with her node theory. What she found chilled her. Throughout human history, whenever massive energy had been released near these nodes, through nuclear tests, large-scale accidents, or natural disasters, subtle but measurable responses had occurred across the entire network. Earth wasn't just a planet. It was, in some sense Maya couldn't yet fully comprehend, alive. As the 48-hour deadline approached, Maya raced to present her findings to the Emergency Council. We can't let them tap into these nodes, she insisted. Based on my analysis, doing so could trigger a cascading response throughout the entire planetary network. What kind of response? General Foster asked. I don't know, Maya admitted. But every simulation I've run suggests it would be significant. Before the council could debate further, an aide burst into the room. The Valkyrie have moved up their timeline. They're deploying collection devices now. Satellite imagery confirmed it. Smaller craft had detached from the main Valkyrie vessels, and were descending to predetermined locations around the globe. When the Secretary General attempted to contact Commander Sealer, the response was cold. "We detect your scientific instruments scanning our technology. You plan to refuse. We cannot allow further delay. The collection will proceed, and the energy we leave will be more than sufficient for your world's needs." As the collection devices made contact with Earth at various ancient sites, Maya watched her instruments with mounting dread. Energy readings at the first sites spiked as the Valkyrie technology engaged with the planetary network. Then something unexpected happened. At Stonehenge, where one of the first collectors had been placed, the ground began to vibrate. The Valkyrie device, designed to siphon energy, instead began to glow with increasing intensity. Similar reports came in from other sites: Easter Island, the pyramids of Giza, Angkor Wat. Maya's instruments went wild. The planetary network wasn't just responding, it was awakening. "They triggered it," she whispered, watching as energy signatures cascaded across her global map. "Earth is defending itself." As the sun set over New York, the Valkyrie ships suddenly illuminated like stars, surrounded by crackling fields of energy. But it wasn't power they were collecting. It was power being forced into their systems. Earth had answered the alien ultimatum with one of its own: the awakening. The sky above Earth's major cities blazed with unnatural light as the Valkyrie ships struggled against the energy surging into them. What had begun as a simple extraction operation had turned into something the aliens had never anticipated. Their vessels, designed to harvest and contain primum energy, were now being overwhelmed by it. In her laboratory, Dr. Maya Chen watched in awe as her instruments recorded energy levels far beyond anything she had theorized possible. The dormant planetary network she had discovered was not just active. It was responding with precision, targeting the alien collectors and reversing their flow. "It's not random," she told the assembled military and scientific leaders who had gathered in her lab, now the de facto command center for Earth's response. "The network is specifically countering the Valkyrie technology. It's adaptive." "Are you saying the planet is intelligent?" General Foster asked, her expression a mixture of disbelief and wonder. "Not in the way we understand intelligence," Maya replied, her eyes never leaving the monitors. "But there's undeniably a system at work here that can recognize threats and respond to them." On the main screen, satellite imagery showed the Valkyrie collection devices at ancient sites around the world glowing with blinding intensity. At Stonehenge, the stones themselves had begun to resonate, emitting a low hum that could be felt miles away. At Machu Picchu, observers reported that the ancient stones seemed to shift slightly, realigning themselves toward the alien collector before a beam of energy shot upward into the sky. Aboard the primary Valkyrie vessel orbiting Earth, Commander Sealer faced a crisis unprecedented in the history of their species. The ship's systems, overwhelmed by the surging primum energy, were approaching critical failure. What should have been a routine harvesting operation had become a potential catastrophe. "Disengage all collectors immediately," Sealer ordered, multifaceted eyes flashing with urgency. "Reconfigure shields to disperse incoming energy." "The collectors cannot be disengaged," reported Sub-Commander Nevra, her normally composed demeanor shaken. "They have been integrated into the planet's energy network." "Impossible," Sealer snapped. "Our technology is incompatible with raw primum in its natural state. That is why we require the collectors to refine it." "Evidence suggests this is not raw primum," Nevra replied, displaying readings on a hovering holographic screen. "These energy signatures are structured, modulated. This planet's primum has been engineered." For the first time, in a distinguished career spanning centuries, Sealer felt uncertainty. The Valkyrie had encountered thousands of worlds in their long history, many with traces of primum energy. Never had they found one where the energy responded in such a deliberate manner. "Open communication with the humans," Sealer finally ordered. "We must understand what they know about this phenomenon." Back on Earth, Dr. Chen was continuing to analyze the data flowing in from around the world when she made another startling discovery. The energy network wasn't just responding to the Valkyrie, it was responding to humans as well. "Look at this," she said, highlighting readings from various sites. Energy output increases by 22% when humans are present near the nodes. And it's not just proximity. She showed comparative readings. These peaks correlate with emotional responses: fear, resolve, determination. The network is somehow amplifying human emotional energy. As she spoke, a communication request from the Valkyrie flagship appeared on her screen. With approval from General Foster, Maya accepted. Commander Exceller's alien countenance filled the screen, skin patterns pulsing with what Maya was beginning to recognize as signs of distress. "Dr. Chen," the alien acknowledged, "your world is not what we believed. Explain this energy response." Maya chose her words carefully. "We're still learning ourselves, Commander, but it appears Earth has a planetary defense system that's been dormant for millennia. Our research suggests it responds to perceived threats and to human emotional states." "Impossible," Sealer stated flatly. "No biological species could engineer a planetary-scale energy network of this complexity." "Perhaps not us," Maya replied. "But someone did, long ago. And they designed it to work with human consciousness." This revelation stunned the room into silence. The implications were staggering. That Earth had been modified in the distant past, prepared as a protected environment with humanity as either its beneficiaries or its caretakers. "Our ships are approaching critical energy saturation," Sealer finally said. "If we cannot release this energy safely, the resulting discharge could devastate your world's atmosphere." The threat was clear, but Maya recognized something else in the alien's demeanor: genuine concern. The Valkyrie hadn't anticipated this outcome any more than humans had. "There may be a way," she said, thinking rapidly. "If the network responds to human consciousness, perhaps we can use that to modulate the energy flow." Across the globe, a desperate plan was put into action. At each major node where Valkyrie collectors had been placed, teams of volunteers gathered: scientists, military personnel, and local citizens. Under Maya's guidance, they formed circles around the ancient sites, focusing their thoughts on peace, on balance, on harmony between worlds. It sounded mystical, unscientific, but Maya's instruments didn't lie. As humans concentrated at each site, the energy flow stabilized, becoming less erratic, more controlled. At Stonehenge, Ethan led a group of 50 volunteers, their hands linked as they surrounded the ancient stones. "Think about balance," he told them, repeating Maya's instructions. "Visualize the energy flowing not against the aliens, but into a stable pattern." Gradually, the blinding glow emanating from the Valkyrie collector dimmed to a steady pulse, matching the rhythm of the human heartbeats surrounding it. Similar reports came in from sites around the world: Easter Island, the pyramids, Newgrange in Ireland, the ancient city of Caral in Peru. In her lab, Maya watched in amazement as the planetary network responded. "It's working," she whispered. "The system is accepting human guidance." On her screen, Commander Exceller's patterns shifted to what she now recognized as surprise. "Your species is controlling the primum flow," the alien stated. "This is unprecedented." As the crisis stabilized, a new understanding began to emerge. The Valkyrie had come seeking energy, but they had found something far more valuable: a new perspective on the relationship between consciousness and energy. 3 days later, a formal delegation of Valkyrie met with Earth's leaders, not as harvesters but as students. Commander Xeeler, somewhat humbled by the experience, addressed the assembled representatives. "We came seeking primum to power our civilization," the alien acknowledged. "We did not understand that on your world, the energy we seek is not merely a resource, but part of a complex system intertwined with your species' consciousness." The Secretary General nodded. "And we didn't understand our own planet's defenses or our connection to them. Perhaps we both have much to learn." A new agreement was forged. The Valkyrie would withdraw their collectors, but would remain in Earth's vicinity to study the unique relationship between humanity and the planetary network. In exchange, they would share knowledge about other worlds where traces of similar technology had been found, suggesting that whoever had engineered Earth's defenses had been active throughout the galaxy. For Dr. Maya Chen, the revelation opened up entirely new fields of study. The boundary between physics and consciousness, between technology and biology, had been forever blurred. Earth wasn't just humanity's home. It was their partner, designed to protect and amplify human potential. As the Valkyrie ships repositioned themselves into stable orbits for their extended research mission, Maya stood on a hillside outside Princeton, looking up at the night sky. Among the familiar stars, she could now see the faint glow of Valkyrie vessels, no longer threatening invaders but reluctant partners in discovery. Ethan joined her, handing her a cup of coffee. "So do you think we'll ever find out who built the network? Who prepared Earth for us?" Maya sipped her coffee thoughtfully. "I don't know. But whoever they were, they understood something fundamental about humanity that we're only beginning to grasp ourselves." "What's that?" Ethan asked. "That our greatest strength isn't our technology or our intelligence," she replied. "It's our connection to each other and to our world, our capacity for collective action when faced with a threat." In orbit above them, Commander Xeeler was reaching a similar conclusion. The Valkyrie had traveled the stars for millennia, harvesting primum from countless worlds to fuel their advanced civilization. They had seen themselves as the pinnacle of evolution, logical, technological, superior. Yet here, on this seemingly unremarkable planet orbiting an average star, they had encountered something that defied their understanding of the universe. A species barely out of its planetary infancy had access to power the Valkyrie could only harvest, but never truly control. "Begin comprehensive scans of human neurological patterns," Xeeler instructed the research team. "There is something unique in their consciousness that resonates with primum energy, something we must understand." As the data began flowing in, one fact became increasingly clear to the alien commander. The humans didn't control the planetary network through technology or specialized knowledge. They influenced it through something far more basic: emotions, connections, the invisible bonds between individuals united in common purpose. In the ship's observation deck, Xeeler watched the blue planet rotating slowly below. "We came seeking energy," the commander mused to Sub-Commander Nevra. "Instead, we found something far more valuable." "What is that, Commander?" Nevra asked. "A question," Xeeler replied. "One that may reshape our understanding of consciousness itself." On the planet below, humanity was beginning to embrace its newfound relationship with Earth's ancient defenses. Research centers dedicated to studying the planetary network sprang up near major nodes. International cooperation, forged in crisis, continued as humans everywhere recognized their shared connection to the world beneath their feet. For the first time in human history, the people of Earth looked to the stars not with fear of the unknown, but with the confidence of a species discovering its true place in the cosmos. They were not simply inhabitants of a planet. They were integral parts of a system designed to help them thrive and grow. And somewhere in that vastness of space, whoever had engineered Earth's defenses eons ago might be watching, waiting to see if humanity would recognize the gift they had been given. Not just a home, but a partner in their journey to the stars. The Valkyrie had come to harvest energy. They left as witnesses to a power greater than they had imagined. The power of a planet and its people, united as one.